Alright, I am taking a look at the Drobo. This is the 5DT, and it comes with, basically, if you've ever been to a grocery store that has sort of the reusable grocery bags, it comes with a bag like that, which is nice. Makes it a lot easier to open the unit, transport it, and move it to wherever you need to move it to, or store it if you need to. You can see the power brick, power adapter back here for the unit. Very nice box here. When you open it up, you see the Drobo name there, and inside is where you find all your cables and such. It kind of has like a basic get starting 6-step little setup there. Some more instructions and stickers. These are different languages. I will show you that a little bit more detail in a moment, but it shows you the different indicators as far as the LED lighting for the system. Free data recovery service plan. Talks about the different things there. Your cables. This is the Thunderbolt cable. I'm using the USB 3 cable, and it comes well packaged with nice plastic pieces in there. So this is the actual Drobo unit. Hopefully you'll be able to see this pretty well. Magnetic closure on the front, which is nice. Important sticker, which I've already peeled off before. These are the different indicator lights for your device. Shows you the hard drive status, which is very, very convenient, of course. And looking at the actual drive bays, you don't have to worry about sliding them in and out. There's a spring on the inside that clips, and there's a little retention mechanism on the left over here. So that's very easy to work with. On the bottom, we have our cache drive, 128 megabyte mSATA, and just a very nice little metal door that covers that. On the back, you have your Thunderbolt connections. You have your USB connection, your Kensington lock, your switch, your power, and I believe this is a little reset hole down here at the bottom. And then, of course, you have your fan for the whole back side of this. There's also rubber feet on the bottom, so you don't have to worry about scratching up things. I recently had an actual drive failure internally in my PC, or the beginning stages, so it worked out quite well to have this. I've already started testing this with some other random drives, but those I've taken out, and we're going to be using 2 of the WD or Western Digital Red. These are 6 terabytes each, and these are the Pro models because they're faster. So get that lined up. Camera's right there, so let me move that. There we go. Slide that in. That locks into place. So I'm going to go ahead and put 1 in for right now. Alright. And I've already got the Drobo dashboard software installed on the actual PC. So got the drive in. I'm going to insert the drive. Connect the Drobo, and we're going to go ahead and power it on, and you'll see some of the lighting and such that's going on here. Right. And it's firing up and getting going right now. Alright guys, taking a quick look at the Drobo 5DT, you can see the specifications, and on the right hand side you can see a drive failure alert. That drive failure alert is there simply because I was preparing this unit and I pulled a drive out so that I could show you some different things. There is a small screen, hopefully you'll be able to see the lighting, and that will relate to the drive failure as far as the red light goes. The green light, of course, is the good disk. You can see the dashboard here, and you can see the drive failure alert right now, as I was just mentioning. The nice thing about that is you can see the status on the front of the drive, or you can see it right through the software itself. You can also see the the hot data cache active on the bottom left, which makes it very easy to know exactly what is going on with the different drives available. Now, I am hopefully going to be able to show you a full setup in real time. So right now you can see the red flashing. Of course, as I said, I did that so that I can show you some different things. I'm going to walk you through some different aspects of the software. You can double click on that Drobo. You can see some general settings. And of course, you can see the name, you can see the dual disk redundancy option, but we need to have a third drive or more added. And of course, we have a power saving functionality as well as a light brightness adjustment. I like it bright, you may or may not. Here you can see each of the different drive status indications, as well as information about the drives themselves, including the mSATA drive on the bottom, which, unless you take it out, should be active. As I mentioned earlier, you do have the hot data cache available, and it will show you the different status. So, other than that, as of right now, like I said, I pulled a drive out, I got this set up, and you're going to see that flashing red and that error message. You can look on the left. It's a very simple menu to navigate, and you can see the different aspects. You have a pie chart similar to you would have in Windows, so nothing there. Having not formatted this because it is a new setup, you can see there's no use space and a 64 terabyte maximum capacity. I tested this with a multitude of other drives, but this is with the new drives. If you want to have a little light show of sorts, I don't personally care for it, but you have the option to do so for whatever reason. You can click on that and it will come on, and you'll see, hopefully in the small screen, it'll be large enough that you can see the different things going on. You have the option to rename, format, and shut down across the top. As you can see, you have, of course, the reset option, which we're going to be doing, and that's going to allow you to see how this works from kind of start to finish, essentially. And then, of course, on the bottom, you have your software updates, where you can check for updates manually. And I'm going to go ahead and leave mine actively set up to check for updates at all times. Here we're back at the settings menu you saw before. There's not a lot there. This is where I'm going to leave the automatic updates, and you do have some different options in the event that you need to get support. There's a link you can click that'll open a website, and if you have a directly attached device not being detected, if you want to add it by IP, you have the network settings you just saw. I do prefer the automatic updates. I will leave that selected, and you do have the alerts and what you want to see. That's on the bottom right, as you can see. The system tray, you have a fairly limited menu, but there's not a lot that you need to see. So there's a couple options available there you can clearly see. If you decide you want email alerts, it's very simple to configure, much like you would configure Outlook or some other mail application. You just input the settings for that particular account and service. You have your help and support, where you can register your device, do some different diagnostics as necessary, and get some different actual assistance through the different links. Now, because of this drive and the way I pulled the drive out, it shows the failure. So you're going to see one good, one bad, even though they're both good. They're both brand new.
So we'll go ahead and reset the device. That's going to take several minutes. It's going to be quite boring. I do apologize about that. This thing does take a little bit of time, but once we go through the reset process, it will take a little bit of time to have that actual process complete. So at this point, I may have chosen to cut this portion out. You may or may not be able to hear this part. I wanted to do a real-time scenario, but I was trying to give the device ample time to detect it on its own. That doesn't always work, or maybe it's not intended to work that way. I did test this with a multitude of other drives beforehand, but I decided to go ahead and switch to 2 of the Western Digital 7200 Red Edition NAS drives. They have a longer warranty, and they are the faster drives, being 7200 RPM. I believe the others are 54 and 5900 RPMs. I do have 2 additional drives that will be here shortly, and I'll add those at that time to 4 terabytes. So the cool thing is, and something I'll show you in a few moments in the video, is the website and how it offers a lot of information about drive configuration and things. So we probably won't spend a lot of time on that, simply because I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now, just because there's not a whole lot of activity going on at the moment. Again, I was trying to give the device some time to see if it was going to actually pick up the new device. I only had used drives, and I didn't know if the device would respond differently with used drives as opposed to new drives. So, but we're going to go through the reset process. You do have to type in the word erase with a capital E to go ahead and initialize that. The device resets. It does that very quickly, but then it takes a few moments for the redetection process to occur. So again, I will apologize. There is a delay at this point where well, not really a delay, but just a dead space, a dead time. There's not a whole lot to talk about. There's not a whole lot going on. But again, the website, I will show you that momentarily. There's a lot of good resources available. You can choose the right Drobo for you. You can look at, in the event that you decide to upgrade your Drobo, there's a step-by-step setup for that, which is very quick and simple, 3 steps. I think this is basically the point where I decided to go ahead and look at the different options available. You do have time machine capabilities for Mac users, and of course you do have support for SATA drives as well as your standard hard drives. So there is a battery built into this. It will back up your data in the event that you have power loss, which is a very nice thing. It's supposed to last the life of the actual unit. I have unplugged the unit and had it run off the battery. I didn't leave it for a long period simply because I don't want to use the battery unnecessarily, prematurely, because it does say it's going to last a lifetime. The datasheet opens a PDF document with a lot of details. There's plenty of support available. You can contact support if you'd like, but there's a very good amount of documentation available. You can download the software from the website very quickly and very easily. Installation is very quick. There's really, it's not a difficult item to use. It's just a matter of what is available to you as far as hard drives on the capacity. That's the main thing. And again, there is a drive calculator that we're going to take a look at momentarily, and that helps a great deal as far as determining what size drives you should order. So we're still waiting for this to connect. I believe there was a sound that indicated it was detected, and it pops up. So I don't know exactly, but I want to say it was about a 4-minute process, 5-minute process roughly, from the erase to the actual redetection where the drive becomes functional. Formatting the drive, as you'll see momentarily, is a very, very quick process, or drives as it were. They will show up, of course, as a single unit, being in a RAID setup and RAID configuration. Once I add the additional drives, that will allow me a little bit more space. We are back up and running now, and of course there is our indicator we need to format. We're going to use NTFS, and we are able to select our drive letter, and we will have a warning that we need to consider depending upon the environment you're going to be working in. That basically will go through and tell you about the incompatibility of using the Drobo with BitLocker and dynamic disks. So, and I'm basically speaking about that right now, and proceed on from that point. Those are not things I'm going to worry about at this point. So, once we begin the format process, you'll see that it actually goes very quickly. Of course, that's going to open the new volume that's created, and it does say it can take up to 5 minutes. Again, I suggest going with the 200 RPM drives. They are a lot quicker, and of course, I only have 2 drives, so it's going to be relatively quick at this point. So our drives are formatted, our setup is complete. We can actually start moving files and things at this point. Again, I tested this with different data and different things on other drives. It was okay. It wasn't bad. I wasn't really concerned about speed. This will be a backup drive. All things will be automated as far as backups go for me. Again, we're just kind of looking through some different settings, and other than that, I think this is where I wanted to show you guys the capacity calculator. This is where you choose your device and you choose the different drives. I have 6 terabytes times 2 currently, and you can see on the right hand side basically our little pie chart. I'm going to add 4 terabytes times 2 in probably the next 2 to 3 days, increase my capacity. You can see on the right the little calculator. It actually moves according to the drives, and you do have the dual disk redundancy option if you decide to use that. Of course, that will decrease your total storage space, so I'm most likely not going to be using that personally. And then you have a little example of the different media files that you can support. Of course, it is for example only, so but with just the 4 drives that I intend right now, I've got over 1,000 movies potentially possible, which is nice. I'll add another 6 terabytes later in a month or two. But by any means, mix and match, throw in what you have. I happen to have a drive failure in the beginning stages in my main system, so I decided that the Drobo would be an item that I wanted to go ahead and use. Basically, I don't know. I've heard of them before. I thought they were nice options, and so far it seems like a really nice thing. Here you can see if you were to upgrade your Drobo, there's a little documentation, 3 simple steps, and there's a great deal of different Drobos available. So mine is connected currently through USB 3. I don't have any other options. Here you can see that I went ahead and I was going to run one pass at 1 gig, and I'm going to run that on the Drobo. I'll provide a screenshot, and you won't have to watch this anymore, so I won't have to bore you any longer. But I do apologize. I had to re-record this and to sort of a voiceover, so it's a little bit more difficult than the original setup, but none of my software is working properly with the microphone, and I attribute that a lot to Windows 10 because I never had these issues when I was dealing with Windows 7. But unfortunately, I have too much already set up here to go back at this point right now. Okay, so I will provide a screenshot with the end results of the test, and you'll be able to see that. Other than that, hopefully this is at least somewhat helpful to you. Maybe I can provide you with some kind of information if you have any questions. Although I wanted to show you this more as a first-time user, sort of, because I do have a little experience with it, as I said previously, with some other drives. But to give you an idea of what you might expect from this drive setup or this device setup, hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what you might expect, and it gives you a brief overview of the software. Thank you.